I'm James Spann. This is the afternoon edition of the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Friday, the 25th of June. Very active storms in progress around the state. We talked about rain chances going up, heat levels coming down. That's happened today. In the tropics, of course, bear watching as well with the wave in the Caribbean. Let's get right to it. That's the Tuscaloosa sky cam, and the power went off at that site at the Tuscaloosa County. I said the power went out. There's some type of outage. We've had no data since a little before 2 o'clock, but that storm really packed a punch. A warning was up, and we've got some reports of flooding, hail, and high winds in the area. Go to the Coleman sky cam. You can see a storm there moving away from the site. The temperature down to 72 because of that. And way down south, that's the Gulf Shore sky cam. And again, we've been watching with interest. There's a number of cleanup crews on the coast continuing to work the oil spill mess down there. But the sky is mostly sunny down there in the Gulf Coast. Water vapor satellite shot, the heat ridge weakening a little bit. And we talked about this, just very minor variations in temperatures aloft. They cool down a little bit, opens up the atmosphere for these things to form in the hot, unstable air. And there they are. That's a look at the radar at 2:20. You saw that big storm over Tuscaloosa. Other big ones near Leeds. That's produced some down trees and power lines there. Another big cluster from Springville back up to near Attala. And these things are not moving much, so we have, in addition to the possibility of wet microbursts and lightning and all of that, we've got the potential for flooding in areas. In fact, Tuscaloosa County is under a flood warning, a flash flood warning at this point, and we're getting other reports of flooding underneath those stronger storms. But, of course, away from the storms, the sun is shining. You know how it goes. They're scattered. And, yeah, the numbers are coming down. Come on now. Look at the Shelby County Airport, 75 at 2 o'clock. That's because of a storm nearby, of course. We've got 89 for Birmingham, 74 for Cullman. The only spot that's really hot is Montgomery. Down to the south, they've got 96. Here's a watch warning map. All the dots you see across the southeastern states, those are severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings. The blue dots are severe thunderstorm warnings. The green dots, flash flood warnings. We do have a slight risk now for the northern half of Alabama for the rest of today and tonight. In advance of a surface boundary just north of us, the lapse rates are very steep now that the air aloft is colder, and there's some dry air aloft also, meaning potential for wet microbursts, localized areas of damaging wind. Tomorrow, the risk is up north. And on day 3, which is Sunday, the risk well to the north. That includes Indianapolis, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. QPF chart numbers are coming up. This is valid through Wednesday morning of next week. And again, we'll see a lot of these storms around for the next several days. And, of course, the wild card is the tropical system. It looks like now the guys at NHC are thinking maybe the solution over toward the Mexican coast is right. And let's just jump right into it and talk about it. We've got 2 suspect areas now. The one we've been tracking for days in the Caribbean. And notice it seems to be forming at a lower latitude. And the lower the latitude, the lesser the chance this will be a problem up here for the central Gulf Coast. And then we've got the second one that's just northeast of the Virgin Islands, the Leeward Islands, if you will. But again, we'll focus on the one that's developing pretty nicely now. And look how close that thing is to Central America. So it's going to have to interact with land, inevitably a pretty good chunk of the Yucatan Peninsula. Look at the model suite, and you can see how it's got to come across a pretty large chunk of the Yucatan before it gets back into the southern Gulf. And again, the lower latitude is way down there below 20 north. Would lessen the risk of anything up here. But having said that, you still got some models that want to curve it northeast up into the trough that's developing over the eastern U.S. next week. And the question is, will the trough pick it up and move it up this way, or will the trough bypass the system and it winds up in Mexico or maybe the southern tip of Texas? Here's a look at the GFS ensemble track guidance. And the GFS is wanting to turn it northeast up this way. The GFDL wants to bring it up this way. This is valid middle of next week, Tuesday evening. It's got the thing as a tropical storm coming up toward Destin and Fort Walton Beach. And, of course, the heavier rain, if this solution is right, would be east of the circulation center, mainly over central and south Florida, the peninsula. Look at the wharf. It does the same thing. It wants to pull it northeast up this way. Very weak system. In fact, that's barely a tropical storm coming up toward Panama City and Apalachicola. But the Canadian takes it into Mexico. next week at 120 hours. This is Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock. Takes it in south of Brownsville, Texas. And that solution is very viable. I could go either way. I'm not so sure I've got a favorite pick at this point. What about the intensity? This is the intensity guidance. Most models keep it as a tropical storm. A couple of outliers, but again, the early season systems typically do that. And remember, it's got to cross the Yucatan Peninsula one way or the other. It's a big landmass. That thing will be over. So again, you can see the guidance generally keeps it as a tropical storm, and that's good. We'll look at the GFS, the Global Forecast System. This is at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at 500 millibars. We've still got the ridge here, but again, not as strong as it has been. And I think tomorrow, like today, scattered showers and storms. Where the storms form, they could pack a punch. Same thing on Sunday. Scattered showers and storms. Monday of next week, you can see the GFS wants to try and bring that wave up toward Cedar Key in the eastern Gulf. And then Tuesday, there's the trough developing over the east. The tropical system moves up into that front, kind of merges with it. And again, we got a front near the Tennessee border, so we'll maintain a pretty good chance of showers and storms Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we get into continental air, and the GFS is suggesting what could be Alex is just east of Cape Fear, North Carolina. But remember, many of the models take it into Mexico, so you talk about a divergence in model output here. And I don't think anybody at this point can make a good call on that. Thursday of next week, we're in dry continental air, lower humidity, cooler nights, and Friday, same thing. So the latter half of next week, one way or the other, looks good for us, and that will be awfully nice to get a break. High should be in the upper 80s on those days. We'll check the end of the forecast on July the 11th. The heat bubble west of here, they can have it. And down below that suggests some pretty typical summertime weather out there. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes on the blog. The next video here, by Monday morning at 7, Brian Peters will have the updates both tomorrow and Sunday. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and God bless.